Alright everyone, we are back today and we are playing some Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition. Today we have something a little bit bigger. We are playing 3,700 points. Why 3,700 points? Well, because we both were having so much fun writing our lists, there wasn't anything we wanted to cut out. So the points just kept rising and that's where we decided to cut it off. Today we're going to have Skaven versus Lizardmen in a classic matchup. With Jehuin leading his Skaven-hating skinks against the Grey Seer and the forces of the Horned Rat. So here's a look at our table. We're just going to play a regular battle line because it's a little bit more points. We just went with some relatively simple terrain. Got a couple rock formations, a couple forests, and 2 water features. So the water features and the rocks will be, and the forests will be mysterious. The rocks will be, skirmishers can move through them, but they'll be impassable for any other rank and file units. So there's a look at that. We will take you guys over to the armies. Here is my Skaven army. They're going to be trying to shake off the curse of the freshly painted. I finally got them all done. Had to make a few additions so that we could get up to this point level. But I think they're going to do all right. We are going to be led by a Grey Seer who has 3 Warpstone tokens. We have a Battle Standard Bearer. We have here, this little guy is just an engineer, which the only item he has is a pistol, and he's carrying the Skaven brew. He'll follow the warlord around. We have an assassin. We have a warlock engineer with warp lightning. Here is the warlord on his bonebreaker leading the storm vermin, and we have the very rarely seen vermin lord. So I needed more points, and he's 500 points, so that was an easy one to include there. And it's nice to see them on the table because you don't see them played very often in 8th edition. So that'll be kind of fun. Also with the Skaven, we have a unit of 30 clan rats with a poison wind mortar. Going along with the warlord is a unit of 46 storm vermin with a rattling gun. We have another unit of 30 clan rats with a poison wind mortar. We have a unit of gutter runners, 2 rat swarm or rat darts. We have a unit of 50 plague monks with the plague banner, a unit of 6 censer bearers, a unit of 6 poison wind globadiers. They're probably my favorite models in the army just because they look cool. A unit of 8 rat ogres with 3 pack masters, and a unit of 42 giant rats with 8 pack masters, and they are being led by Squeal Gnawtooth. That model there will represent Squeal, and we'll see what benefit he rolls up for his giant rats after deployment. The Grey Seer is going to get Skitterleap, Crack's Call, Scorch, and Howling Warp Gale. The Vermin Lord is going to get Blessed with Filth, Wither, Vermintide, and Curse of the Horned Rat. And as I said before, the Engineer, who's the caster, is going to get Warp Lightning. So there we are, 3,700 points worth of Skaven. And we will take you guys over to the Lizardmen and see what they're bringing to the table. Walk me through what 3,700 points of Lizardmen looks like.
Got two skink cohorts. Each with 4 Croxagores. I tell you how many skinks there are, but I have forgotten. Three units of 10 skink skirmishers, 5 pterodons, 3 hunting packs worth of razordons, 3 hunting packs with salamanders, 9 chameleon skinks, 2 stegodons, one with the engine of the gods and the other with blowpipes. One of them has a skink priest on him.
Okay.
2 bastillodons, one with the solar engine, the other with the Ark of Sotek, Troglodon, a skink priest, Teto Echo to provide us a good bit of magic, and leading army will be Tahuan with his jungle swarms.
That is a huge unit of jungle swarms. All right, so there we have 3,700 points of Lizardmen. For magic, Teto Echo has Lore Master, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then between your other mages, they're all using beasts?
Yes.
And you got every spell except for Curse of Anger
Yeah.
between them. Okay. So that's pretty much that. Skaven magic versus Beasts in Heavens. So we will go ahead and get deployed and let you guys see what things look like after that. Here we are all deployed for our battle line. 2 things I forgot to mention in my army. I forgot to mention the Warp Lightning Cannon and the Doom Wheel. So that's all of the Skaven there. So for our forests, this ended up being a wildwood. The Lizardmen ended up there with an abyssal forest. And we have a blood forest over here represented by the treekin that will get up and move if necessary. Okay, so running down the Skaven line, we have Rat Dart, Poison Wind Globadiers, Vermin Lord. We have Clan Rats with the Engineer and a Poison Wind Mortar. We have the Warp Lightning Cannon, another unit of Clan Rats with a Poison Wind Mortar. We have the Giant Rats with Squeal. They ended up rolling poison attacks for Squeal's ability. The Storm Vermin with the Warlord and the Engineer with the Skaven Brew, they ended up rolling Rabid, so it's basically like they have the effects of Death Frenzy with the +2 attacks, and they have to take d6 wounds at the end of every turn. There's their Rattling Gun, another Rat Dart, Rat Ogres. We have the Plague Monks, Sensor Bearers, and all the way over here, hopefully where he can't hurt many people, is the Doom Wheel. You want to run down the line of the Lizardmen for us?
Okay. Got the Razordons, the Stegodon with the Engine of the Gods, Pterodons, Teto Echo to provide some magic, Skink Skirmishers, more Skink Skirmishers, Cohort, Tahuan and his Swarm, the Bastildon with the Ark of Sotek, the other Skink Cohort with the Priest, the Stegodon with the Blowguns, more Skirmishers, Salamanders, Troglodon, and the Bastildon with the Solar Engine.
And the Chameleon Skink scouted there towards the center. The Skaven Assassin is hidden somewhere on the table in a unit, and the Gutter Runners are coming in with their sneaky infiltrate. So we'll see how that goes. The Lizardmen did win first turn, so they'll be going first, and we will bring you guys back after Lizardmen turn 1. All right, good luck.
You too.
This is where we are at the end of Lizardmen turn 1. Some chain lightning came down from Teto Echo, killed 3 Plague Monks, 1 Packmaster of the Rat Ogres, 3 Storm Vermin, and 1 Packmaster and a rat out of this unit. The Chameleon Skinks hiding in the rocks killed 9 more giant rats. And then over here, these guys took a wound off the Doom Wheel, but it did not spin out of control. And the Pterodon riders managed to take down 2 sensor bearers. I was quite surprised by that. So that's about it for Lizardmen turn 1. We will move over to Skaven turn 1 and see what we can do. Fair warning, before we see what happens on turn 1, I have no idea what I am doing with Skaven. This is mostly new to me. So we'll see what happens. Bring you guys back after that. Here's the end of Skaven turn 1. The Doom Wheel plowed into a unit of Skink Skirmishers, took them out, and then overran into the Razordons. So he's probably going to get hit by a Stegodon next turn. Over here, the Sensor Bearers charged the Pterodon Riders and managed to win the combat and then overrun. Moving along over here, the Plague Monks and the Rat Ogres just moved up. The Plague Wind Mortar over here took out a couple Skinks and put some wounds on the Croxagores. Also in Magic, a well-placed Vermintide from the Vermin Lord took out most of that unit and then killed off a bunch more of the Skinks in this unit. And the Poison Wind Globadiers, they threw their globes and did 1 wound to a Salamander over here. So not a bad turn at all for the Skaven. Not much happened with the Warp Lightning Cannon. And this guy moved, so no firing for the Rattling Gun, but we'll see what he can do maybe next turn. But that's where it sits, and we're going to get ready and go over to Lizardmen turn 2. End of Lizardmen turn 2, and this is how things look. The Stegodon, as I thought, came into the flank of the Doom Wheel. Only did 1 wound on the impact hit. The Doom Wheel did 2 wounds to a Razordon, and then this with 1 wound that got through from a Razordon, and then the Stegodon finished off the Doom Wheel in combat, and then overran to this, and then the Razordons just reformed. Over here, the Blowpipe Skinks went to town on the Rat Ogres, taking out 3 of them? Yeah, that was brutal. Oh no, I'm sorry. They took out 2 of them with the blowpipes. The third one died to a chain lightning from Teto Echo over there. That chain lightning also took out a few more Plague Monks, so they're whittled down a little bit. Over here, the Skink cohort charged the giant rats. The cohort won by 1 wound, but the rats held firm thanks to the reroll from the BSB hiding back here. Over here, the Salamanders torched the Poison Wind Globadiers, and they ran off. So they're now fleeing, unfortunately. The Troglodon tried to spit at the Vermin Lord, but failed. And the other thing of note in this turn is this unit of Skink Skirmishers over here finished off the Sensor Bearers. So they're gone. So the Lizardmen are definitely pushing in, but the Skaven are starting to get some of their heavy hitters up. So we'll see what can happen on Skaven turn 2. I have a feeling this next turn is going to be messy. All right, we'll catch you guys back up after Skaven turn 2. Here we are at the end of Skaven turn 2, and we've got a mix of good and bad. Over here, the Plague Monks charged the Stegodon, ended up winning the combat. The Stegodon fled, but we couldn't catch him, and we overran into the Razordons. Over here, the Rat Ogres charged the Skink cohort here and ended up losing badly, and they're now fleeing. Over here, we took out a Jungle Swarm with the Plague Wind Mortars. The Rat Dart charged the Chameleon Skinks that were hiding in the rocks, beat them in combat, and overran to there. Over here, this skink cohort finally took out the big unit of Squeal's giant rats and is overrun into the storm vermin. The storm vermin are down a couple models from their Skaven brew result, but hopefully that'll pay off next turn. Over here, the Warp Lightning Cannon took 3 wounds off the Stegodon that was over here, and the Gutter Runners showed up in the rear and finished off the Stegodon with their poison shots. So we're down 1 Stegodon. The Vermin Lord charged the Troglodon, beat him in combat after casting Wither on him, and is pursuing him. The Vermin Lord actually miscast to get that Wither off and did a wound to himself and the Troglodon at the same time. Our other Rat Dart charged this unit of Salamanders, only did 1 wound to the Salamander, and then itself got destroyed in combat. The Poison Wind Globadiers are still fleeing, and as far as anything else that happened that turn, I believe that's it. So, we've got that unit over there running. Got some mixed stuff still left here on this flank for the Lizardmen. Looks like the Lizardmen are kind of holding the center quite well. And then we're doing a push on this flank. So some good, some bad in favor of both sides. So we will move over to Lizardmen turn 3 and see how it turns out. Here things are at the end of Lizardmen turn 3. The Croxagores and the cohort overran into the Storm Vermin. The Storm Vermin beat them down pretty badly and broke them, so they're off running, but we couldn't quite catch them. Over here, thanks to the Bastillodon and this Skink Skirmisher unit right here, they took 3 more wounds off the Vermin Lord, so he's got 1 wound left. Not looking too good over here. The Salamanders there managed to barbecue some clan rats over here, but they passed their break test. On this side, the Skink Skirmishers chose to shoot down the Rat Ogre some more, so there's only 1 Rat Ogre left who's currently fleeing. And over here, the Plague Monks beat the Razordons in combat, but couldn't quite catch them, and then overran into the newly rallied Stegodon. So we've got our work cut out for us there because we've used up our Plague Banner. So it's going to be tough work trying to knock him down to size. So that is where things sit at right there. So we are getting ready to move over to Skaven turn 3. All right, this is how things sit at the end of Skaven turn 3. Between magic and some shooting from the Plague Wind Mortar and the Warp Lightning Cannon, we've taken out a couple skinks out of this cohort and did a wound to a Croxagore. The Storm Vermin here, they decided to restrain and reform because they're frenzied up because of the Skaven brew. This unit of clan rats charged the fleeing cohort here and made them run again. The Gutter Runner ninjas came out and threw their slings at them, dealing some wounds, taking out the last of the regular skinks, putting a wound on the Skink Priest, and a wound on a Croxagore over here. The Plague Wind Mortar over here landed on this hunting pack and finished off 1 Salamander and took out a couple skinks. The Vermin Lord, he managed to finish off the Troglodon in combat, and now he's reformed up onto the Bastillodon. All the way over here on this side of the table, the Plague Monks kind of bounced off the Stegodon. They didn't do anything. The Stegodon took out about 6 Plague Monks, won that combat, so now they've lost their frenzy. So I think we're going to be stuck there for a while. We only managed to stay in that fight because we were steadfast. And this Rat Ogre over here, he failed to rally, so he's still running. And the Poison Wind Globadiers ran off the table finally. The Grey Seer managed to miscast on a what was that spell? On a Scorch? No, Crack's Call. He miscast on a Crack's Call and killed 3 of his own unit. And then the Crack's Call didn't get anyone. So that is where we sit. It's still a relatively close game. I think if we lose those Plague Monks and that Stegodon gets into the rest of this fight, it's going to be a much different story. But we'll see if we can hold on and keep that from happening. But I think it's definitely anyone's game at this point. So we will catch you guys back up after Lizardmen turn 4. Here things are at the end of Lizardmen turn 4. A pretty good turn for the Lizardmen. The Stegodon beat the Plague Monks in combat, and they failed their Steadfast. So they are running, and they've lost their Standard now. Moving on over here, these Skink Skirmishers took out a couple Clan Rats over here. The Croxagores charged into the front of the Storm Vermin, and the Bastiladon hit them in the side. It was quite a brutal combat. In the end, the Lizardmen ended up winning that combat 22 to only 20 for the Skaven, and the Skaven ended up holding and passing their leadership test. So we'll see how that one goes in the next round, but that was a pretty brutal combat on both sides. Over here, the Salamanders hit this unit of Clan Rats twice, practically dead on both times, and caused them to panic and destroyed their adjacent Plague Wind Mortar. These guys, these Skink Skirmishers, took the last wound off the Vermin Lord. And over here, this Skink cohort with the Skink Priest failed to rally, so they are still running. So that is how things are looking. Oh, and before I forget, this unit of this Salamander pack over here in the corner, Razordon, thank you. They failed to rally also, so they're still running. So that is where things sit. At the end of Lizardmen turn 4, we are going to move over to Skaven turn 4, but we are in a sticky spot. So we will catch you guys up after that. Alright, end of Skaven turn 4. Things aren't looking great, but they could be worse. The Plague Monks failed to rally, so they are continuing to run. Over here, we did fight the Skinks cohort and the Bastiladon to a draw, so that was a tied combat, but we are slowly running out of Storm Vermin. Over here, the ninjas moved around and took out the Skink Priest and did another wound to the Croxagores. The Warp Lightning Cannon managed to take out a couple bases worth of Jungle Swarms. And just to get out of the way of danger, the Grey Seer skitterleaped himself over to here. The Clan Rats here with the Engineer failed to rally, and also the last Rat Ogre failed to rally, so he's probably gone next turn. So that is where we sit. We will take things over to Lizardmen turn 5 in this very close game, but I think the Lizardmen have a slight edge at this point, because I don't think the Plague Monks are long for this world. All right, we will bring you guys back after Lizardmen turn 5. Alright, here things sit at the end of Lizardmen turn 5. The Stegodon charged the Plague Monks and caused them to run some more, but didn't catch them. The Skink Skirmishers fired off a bunch of shots into them, whittling them down some more. The Razordons managed to rally before they hit the board edge. Over here, the Jungle Swarms with Tehuin charged into the Clan Rats. The Assassin revealed himself. The Assassin and the BSB really dished out a bunch of wounds, killing a base and almost wiping out another one. Tehuin cast Savage Beast on himself and killed 3 Clan Rats. But strangely enough, the Swarms didn't really get any wounds through. So we ended up, or the Skaven ended up winning that combat. Over here, The Skaven magically won this combat. The Croxagores just couldn't land any hits. They only killed a couple storm vermin, but thanks to Tehuan being nearby, they managed to pass their leadership test there. Over here, the Salamanders tried to spit at the Warp Lightning Cannon and didn't really do a whole lot. And over here, the Bastiladon and the Skirmishers tried to take out the ninjas, but they couldn't really do anything. And those Croxagores continue to run over there. So still a really close game. We are going to go into Skaven turn 5 and see how it's looking at the end of that. Right now, I still think, depending on how these two combats go, it could be anybody's game. And definitely if the Plague Monks continue to run, that's going to be a big factor there because there's a lot of points tied up in them. So we'll catch you guys back up after Skaven turn 5. Okay, this is the end of Skaven turn 5. The Grey Seer skitterleaped himself over to here, dealt a wound to the Stegodon with Scorch, and then did a Crack's Call on these Skink Skirmishers and killed a few. The Plague Monks actually did rally, and they turned around and reformed facing the Stegodon. Over here, the Clan Rats put up a good fight and actually tied with the Jungle Swarms. Most of that work was done by the Assassin, though. Over here, the Storm Vermin did finally fall, and the Warlord broke and ran, but neither the Bastiladon or the Croxagore could catch him. Over here, the Warp Lightning Cannon managed to bring down another Salamander, and the ninjas came around and took out that last unit of Skink Skirmishers. So this is where it sits at. I think we are going to call this one a Lizardmen victory. We're going to go ahead and call it here on turn 5 because that Stegodon, he'll charge in and take out the Plague Monks pretty easily because they're not frenzy anymore. All they have to do is declare a charge on the Warlord, and he's taken out. And if that Salamander goes and roasts those gutter runners, that's all she wrote there. And eventually we're going to run out of Clan Rats here, and Tehuan's going to tear the Battle Standard Bearer and the Assassin apart, I think. So all in all, I think this was a good game. It was a good outing for the first time for the Skaven being all painted. I think this is maybe only like my 4th or 5th game with Skaven, so I'm still getting a feel for them. But they're a fun army. You never quite know what to expect. Anything you want to chime in with?
I think it might be good. It was definitely interesting trying all skinkless. Like, yeah, not having the muscle, the Saurus, it can be a bit of a detriment, but I definitely feel like they have enough monsters and Croxagores to make up for it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Skinks are kind of a little on the weak side when it comes to combat, and just with them being toughness 2, that gives even like giant rats an advantage over them. So that is something you have to look out for. I think if it was Source, it would have been it would not have been as close of a game. But that's why you play different things to change it up sometimes. That also gives us a good possibility. Maybe we can have a rematch with Lord Skrulk leading the army instead of Grey Seer. So that can be fun too. I think our next game is probably going to be some Flames of War. We're going to get back to that. Maybe looking at a little late war project there. So we'll see what we roll up for that. And anyways, thank you for watching. Anything else you got to add?
I think I'm good.
All right. That's it. Thanks again for watching. Have a good one.